Hey guys, I'm Ubiru and welcome back to War Thunder Ground Forces. Today we'll be looking at the premium tank, the new one from the 1.70 update, which is the Sherman Calliope. Now this is an incredibly overpowered machine at the moment. You can run into a game and get an average of 5 to 6 kills within a couple of minutes. It's just ridiculous, but unfortunately though it does cost quite a lot of money. This is a typical pay-to-win tank. I bought it to see what it's like before knowing really what to expect. And I found that this tank is ridiculously overpowered. It's a tier 2 tank. It has a battle rating of 4.3. In every respect, it is identical to the M4 Sherman at tier 2 as well. It weighs the same at 30.6 tons, has the same horsepower, same armor, same max speed. The only exception really is that the original Sherman doesn't have 60 missiles, and the new Sherman doesn't have machine guns. So the Sherman Calliope has 50mm of armour at the front, 38 at the side, and 38 at the rear. The turret armour has 76 at the front, so it can be quite bouncy at this sort of tier 2, 50mm on the side, and 50mm at the back. The Calliope also has the same M4 Sherman gun at tier 2, which is the 75mm M3 cannon. Despite the Sherman Calliope having alright armour for a medium tank at this tier, it has a much larger hitbox. The rocket launcher at the top can be penetrated and can be damaged, and it only has a maximum of 1mm thickness of armour. So the armour on the top can really make this very susceptible to damage. If you're going across a mound of earth and your top is poking out, you can be hit and you can be damaged. So you might be wondering in arcade mode whether these rockets actually reload after they've been used. Unfortunately, they do not. You're limited to 60 rockets for the entire game in arcade, simulator, and realistic. So the Sherman Calliope is a first, really, in War Thunder to have a form of artillery. You don't have a bird's eye view like you would with the positional artillery you have in scout tanks and medium tanks. Unfortunately, at the moment with these rockets, you can only fire down the sight, and you do have to give the rockets much more lead than you do the turret. The rockets in the Calliope do tend to drop quite quickly, so you have to aim quite high in order to get an effective shot at long distance. But the rockets are only really effective within a kilometre, otherwise you have to aim the turret so high that you actually can't get an effective shot on the enemy. With the original Company of Heroes, they used the Sherman Calliope without its main gun. It was just a rocket barrage system, and it couldn't use its main gun. But in War Thunder, you can use the main gun and use the rockets. That's what makes this thing very overpowered. 75mm gun on this tank is quite good for tier 2. It has up to 110mm of penetration. So this tank is quite overpowered. It's basically an M4 with a big bulge of rockets on the top, and you can very easily wipe out the entire team. Anyone within close proximity of you is dead. The rockets do a substantial amount of damage when they hit. It takes an average of 2 or 3 rockets on the side of a tank to knock it out, and you have 60. So I've had about 10 games in this tank so far, and they've all been ridiculously high scores. I will show you my best one in the replay now, so I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so this is the Sherman Calliope on White Rock Fortress. We're playing an arcade battle, and it's a domination mode. So in this game I actually have 2 extra respawns if I need it, if necessary. So with this tank I have 2 different types of ammunition to start. I have the regular AP and I have the APCR. The APCR is better at penetrating at long distance, and the AP at close distance. So it did surprise me initially that this tank has the same weight as the original M4, that the rockets don't actually weigh anything and there's no detriment to the overall power to weight ratio of this beast. It's not a slow tank by no means. It can get to its top speed of 40 knots very quickly. So with this tank you have an artillery power which you can use to barrage enemies. I think it's every couple of kills you manage to get an extra charge, so you can further damage the enemy with artillery. So with the standard arcade battles I could have chosen to take planes once I get kills, but in this match I decided not to. I wanted to utilise the Sherman as best as I can and show you guys what it's all about. So here we are, this is the 60 rockets, and they move at the same direction angle as the main gun. They're all moving together, and I see a KV-1 in the distance. So the KV-1 just sitting there with the T-34. They're about to fire a shot into me. They got me once. I fire again, get the KV-1. T-34 missed. So now I'm moving to the corner, knowing where they are. I'm not going to emerge just yet because I know there's 2 tanks there and they saw me here. So if I emerge at this point, I will die. Okay, so my ally has died on my flank. That's a bit of an issue. That means there's no one spotting it. Oh, there's a KV-1. KV-1 is pointing his gun elsewhere. I'm going to fire my artillery just behind the hill, hopefully get a couple of kills. I know they're all sort of crowded up there. The KV-1 hasn't died, but one of his friends has. I'm going to fire my gun on the KV-1, and here come the rockets. So here we go, fire rockets over and over again. Another enemy in front of us here. Rockets, rockets, rockets. And as quick as that, 3 kills. 1 with artillery, and 2 with the very quick firing rate of these amazing rockets. So now I can't see any enemies, so that's a bit of an issue. There's no one spotting at this point. I know if I emerge, they'll target me first. So now there's a Panzer IV and a KV-1. I'm going to fire all my artillery barrages in this little dip here. I've noticed behind me there's a tank as well, so they're my primary target while the artillery fires from the other direction. Get these guns around, get the whole tank around across this sort of rough terrain. It's going to take a while, but we need to take out these 2 tanks. They're behind us, and they're flanking the cap. So here's another Panzer IV, going to fire rockets at this guy over and over again. It's very easy to miss with these rockets, they all dip, but I can use my gun and the rockets at the same time. If I miss, it doesn't matter, I have another one coming. There we go, straight into the front of the tank, and there we are, the rockets finished them off. Now you are, however, only limited to 60 of these rockets, so when you've used all the rockets, you can't use any more. So now there's M10 approaching, very weakly armoured tank destroyer, going to fire all our rockets into this guy again, critical damage, fire the main gun, hit him, penetrate him, very weak armour, and we finish him off with the rockets. Okay, so now I've noticed there's a KV-1 in the distance there, which is not good. He's approaching above the hill. We need to finish him off. We can fire the rockets, but it's not really at a good angle. We're going to fire a main gun, and we finish him off. Through the back of the turret, he was going to kill one of our allies, and we finish him off for the team. So at this point, we have quite a lot of kills in quick succession. 2 behind me, 2 in front of me, and 1 on my right. In less than a minute, I managed to get 5 kills. It's just ridiculous. So I've noticed on the map now, there's 2 tanks in the ridge. Just past this wall. I think there's 1 on the bridge and 1 below the bridge. I'm going to fire all my artillery at this point. I have 3 charges to hopefully catch one out. So now we're about to merge. I think there's a tank on the bridge. There he is. The artillery is still coming in the bottom. Going to fire all our guns. We are missing most of these rockets. We managed to get killed behind. And this guy. So next to 2 kills. So that takes our tally at 8 kills so far in this match. That is ridiculous. Okay, so now I'm pushing this corner here, not expecting to see many enemies because I have just cleared a whole bunch out. Crossing the bridge, and then I see that. On the map, there's a target. There he is. Firing our rockets, hiding behind this rock. Firing rockets, missing the rockets, unfortunately. Firing main gun. We get him through the front of the turret and finish him off. So we've got 9 kills at this point. That's a ridiculous amount. This tank needs to be nerfed. I love it to bits. It's expensive, but it needs to be nerfed. There's an M10 in the corner, going to fire hopefully a couple of rockets. We hit him once, but we didn't have enough time to finish him off before we got the second round in, and unfortunately we died. I do, however, have another backup, so it's time to use the Calliope again. So I still have 2 charges of artillery if I need to use them. We are winning quite substantially at this point, but the enemy does have 2 cap points and we only have the 1. But at this point we've killed so many tanks. We've killed 9 tanks, 6 enemies and 3 AI. We are in such a good position to finish off the map as one of the best in our team. But we're going to go for some more, see what more kills we can get in this match. So I'm pushing with the allied team now. We have cleared out most of the enemies. Don't really expect to see more at this point. And there's a BT-7. Fire 1 rocket in the back of the tank and he's dead. So 1 rocket killed a very weakly armoured target in 1 shot. The Sherman Calliope is the pinnacle of pay to win in this game, and it's a lot of fun. So at this point we're winning substantially in terms of victory points. We've capped all the points. So we're going to head towards the enemy base to try and finish off a couple of guys before the end of the match. There's a Panzer III firing 1 shot into the rear. Miss most of our rockets. You see the dip. The rockets do tend to dip very quickly, so I did miss most of those rockets. And there's a T-34. So our ally is engaging this T-34, but we're thinking, oh, why not? I'm going to fire all our rockets into this guy. Critical hit, main damage, and he's knocked out. So as quickly as that, we get a huge amount of kills. I think we ended up with 11 kills in this match. We nearly got the Panzer III at the end there. This M4A3 is not very happy that we stole his kill. But the Sherman Calliope is a fantastic tank in War Thunder. So as you can see, we came second on the team. We got many medals of all different shapes and sizes. 72,000 silver, which is a huge amount for this tier. Look at all the medals I accumulated in that match, a huge amount. It's a shame we only came second on the team. We weren't very far behind the first guy. We got a few more kills than him. We got 11 kills in that match. So this has been the Sherman Calliope. It's identical to the tier 2 Sherman M4. except the fact it has 60 rockets on top. It does cost you a lot of money, however. It's something like 10,000 gold, which in this game is around £36, 50 plus dollars. It's a lot of money. If you have some money to spend on War Thunder and you want to have a bit of fun and you want to win most of the time, then this is the tank to buy. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.